Hello class, today we're going to be learning about sine. So for our checklist, we're going to learn about it, we're going to graph it, and we're going to learn the translations. So the first question is, what is sine? Function, metric function of an angle. So we're going to learn today how to graph it. Alex?
What does a sine graph look like?
Great question, Alex. I'll show you. So the sine graph isn't that complicated compared to the other kind of graphs we'll learn about in future days. To graph sine, make sure your curve crosses 0, like this, like a line. Then it's going to curve down all the way to the 1, and all the way to the -1 on this side, and then onto the 1 on this side. Next, it's going to go back down again, right after the 3. So on this side, it will go over here and come back up. And then on this side, it'll go right here. Alex?
What point does it cross on the x-axis?
Great question, Alex. Well, it actually crosses at -pi and pi. If you remember, pi is a long, continuous digit number. This is the parent function of sine. Now we can see how to move this graph and do translations. This is an equation to help you figure out the translations of a sine graph. So if you want to move the graph up or down, you can add or subtract a number from sine x.
So how do you move the graph up or down?
To move the graph up, you add a positive number. To move the graph down, you add a negative number. So, if I were to add 3, my graph would move up here on the y-axis. Like so. A affects the amplitude. Alex?
What is the amplitude?
Question, Alex. The amplitude is the height of the wave from the x-axis, as seen here. So, to decrease the amplitude, you need to use a number smaller than 0. To increase the amplitude, you have to use a number larger than 0. So let's say I used an amplitude of 0. Let's say A was 0.3. The graph would look a little bit more like this. The next is B. B affects the period. Alex?
What is the period?
The period is the number of times the wave repeats. So, if you use a number less than 0, the period will decrease. If you use a number greater than 0, the period will increase. So let's say we used 2. The graph would look more like this. C moves the graph left or right. If you want to move the graph left, you have to use a positive number. want to move the graph right, you have to use a negative number. So let's say we did sine of x plus 3. You would move the graph over here, and it would start over here. Now we're going to do some problems. I'm going to pick on someone from my random calculator. Number 13. Alex, that's you.
It's going to move up on the y-axis 1, and then it's going to go to the left on the x-axis 2. So it's going to go...
Alex, good job. Now I'm going to try another one. I'm going to see who can do the next problem on my random calculator. 13 again! It's you, Alex!
So this means that the amplitude is now going to be 0.3. So it's going to be like this, crosses 0, and then goes back up.
Perfect, Alex. You're such a great student. Well, that's all we have for today. Now you guys can go to lunch.